Hi everyone. Today we are going to be doing a very basic project that will set the stage for a more complex project that we will be doing next. Okay, so in today's project, what we want to look at is automating the creation of table in Snowflake and then inserting records in that table that we have created in Snowflake. Okay, and for us to do this, we are going to be connecting Amazon EC2 to Snowflake, and then we will then use Airflow that is running in an EC2 instance to automate the process. Okay, now this is the DAG that we want to build. This is a very simple project, in which case that the DAG involves two tasks. The first task is creating the Snowflake table, and then we'll insert some records into the Snowflake table. Okay, this is a very simple project. Let's get going, guys. All right, the first thing you will want to do, guys, is to go to snowflake.com. If you don't have an account yet, you can go in and create an account. You can start for free. I think you have 30 days free trial. So if you come to this link right here, I'll put this link in the description. What you can then do is to click start for free. Okay, we first of all want to create a Snowflake account if you don't have that already. Okay, so you will come here and you will put in your details. You say start your 30-day free Snowflake trial. So you can use your trial version, the trial period right here for this. So let's assume I put let's just say I say Baba, last name Mama, then I put say an email address. Okay, I put this, and let's say I put an email address this way. Okay, and then you can just choose a role. I can say, okay, I'm a startup founder, or I'm a whatever thing you are. Okay, just put that right there, and then you can click continue. So when you click continue, then you can maybe select standard right here, and then choose AWS. What that means is that your Snowflake is going to be running on AWS. Okay, and then you can do a check, and then you can click get started. Okay, so just make sure you follow this startup process. Okay, and then when you follow that, then it's going to send you an email which you need to verify your email address. So this is pretty easy. Okay, so just create your account. You are going to have a username eventually, and then a password. So take note of your username and your password. Okay, and then like for me right now, I already have my account, so I will come in here, and then I will log into my Snowflake account. Okay, just so I show you, I will log in, and then okay, now that we have signed in, okay, then you will make sure that you are in the worksheets. Okay, come to worksheets, and then click this plus sign. Okay, when I click this plus sign, then you're going to have different worksheets right here. So we want to go to SQL worksheet. Okay, now you can see right here that if I refresh this, these are the two databases that I have right here. These are the two databases that comes along with the Snowflake when you signed up. Okay, if you click on this drop down, you can see these are the two that you have right there. Okay, however, what we can do is we can create a database. We want to create students database. However, we can say drop database if it exists. So that means that let's assume that we don't know if it exists or not, or maybe we have run some experiment and we forgot to check right here. Sometimes it happens, so that's why it's always good if you are trying to run all these things, you can say drop database if it exists. But if we don't do that also, that's fine. Okay, but just that if it's existing and we are trying to create, then we are going to have and we're trying to create the same database name, then we're going to have an error. Okay, so that's why I want to just say drop first. I'm going to execute right here. Okay, you can see that has been executed successfully, and right now you can see we don't have any database selected, and also we don't have students database right here. Okay, so now let us create database. We will say create database. I will run that. You see, say student database created successfully, and you can see this changed immediately, right? This changed immediately to student database.public. If I then refresh this, you can see we have the student database. If I come right here, you see student database, and this is the schema. Okay, and one other thing I want to show you right here is that this is the data warehouse that comes with this Snowflake. When we opened it, if I click this, you can see this is the warehouse that comes with it. It's called compute warehouse. But however, we can create our own warehouse. We can say create warehouse, student warehouse. Let me execute that. You see that has created successfully, and then you can see this has changed to student warehouse. Okay, so now inside our database also we want to create schema. You can see right here we are in the public schema, but we want to create student schema. So let us execute that. You see immediately that ran successfully. This also changed to student_database.schema. Okay, very good. Now that we have this, that means that we have the database ready. We have the database ready, right? Student database. We have the warehouse also ready. Okay, we also have the schema also ready. Okay, because we are going to be using this when we want to connect to our AWS EC2. We are going to need all this information. Okay, very good, guys. Take note of all that. Okay, now let us go to AWS right now. If you don't have an account yet with AWS, I highly encourage you to create an account. And if you have not watched my previous video where I showed you where I did some projects on AWS, also using Airflow, S3 bucket, and EC2, in which case we did some end-to-end ETL projects. Okay, I'll put the link in the description below for you to take a look. Okay, we also used AWS RDS Postgres for that also. Okay, I'll put the link in the description below. Okay, so right now if you have your AWS setup right now, so log in and let us go to EC2. If you don't see anything right here, you can just come in here and type EC2 and then click that. So we are going to create an EC2 right here, an instance. So I can come here, I can say launch instance, and then I can give the instance a name. I will call it Airflow Snow. Or let me use lowercase. Airflow Snow. Okay, that's the name I'm giving it. And then I will choose Ubuntu as the Amazon machine image. Okay, and then I'll come right. I will leave all those things the way they are. Then I'll come right here. I will choose medium, because we want to use Airflow. T2.micro will not be. You won't be able to use that because Airflow, I believe, needs at least 2 gig of memory. So T2 small is okay to use. I've tried T2 micro before. It was freezing up on me. I've tried T2 small one time, okay, and that worked. Although I've had some other students that mentioned that T2 small froze on them, so they had to move to T2 medium. So in this case, I'm going to be using T2 medium. So again, I've tried T2 micro, it didn't work, it froze on me. I've tried T2 small, it worked for me, but for one of my other students, it didn't work for him. But T2 medium always works. So let us try T2 medium, and take note, they are going to charge you for this, but it's minimal. Okay, now you create a key pair. If you've not created a key pair before, go and watch my previous video where I did that. I'll put the link in the description below. But in my case, I've already gotten a key pair that I want to use. I have it in my downloads folder. So I would put this right here. Okay, and then I will create security groups, guys, and then I will check this. Okay, if I check all that, I think that should be good. Let us launch our instance. Okay, I'm going to pause a little bit. Okay, now my EC2 is in running state. Let me refresh. You can see it's in running state and it's initializing. Let us connect to it and let's install some dependencies. I will check this and then I'll click connect. So when I click connect, make sure you are in this tab, okay, and then click connect. So it's going to open a command line terminal for us right here, and then we can do different installation of dependencies. The first thing we want to do, I'm going to do some copy and paste right here. I'm going to be updating the EC2, that's sudo apt update. I'm going to put this command in the description below for you, okay? Okay, that is done. We are going to install pip, that's sudo apt install python 3-pip. Let that run. I'll click yes right now. It's asking me some question right there, and then when that finished running, we are going to be installing virtual environments, because we are going to be creating virtual environments right here, where we are going to be doing installing some of our libraries. Click this and then click enter, press enter on your keyboard. Okay, that is done. Now let us do sudo apt install python 3.10-venv. I will press enter. I will say yes, enter. Very good. I'll click this and I'll say enter. Okay, very good. Now the next thing is, let us create the virtual environment. Okay, now let us create virtual environment python 3-m venv. Remember, we just installed virtual environment as venv. Then I will call my virtual environment airflow_snow_venv. Okay, I would press enter on that, and that's going to create my virtual environment. Now it has created my virtual environment. Okay, now let us activate our virtual environment. What you can then do is to have what is called source airflow_snow_virtual and venv. That's our virtual environment /bin/activate. That's going to activate our virtual environment. You can see right here, guys, we have activated it. I hope you guys understand this right now, guys. Okay, now the next thing we would like to do is then to install apache-airflow. Okay, now one thing I want to also quickly show you right here is this, guys. Let us look at this right here. I think this is yes, this is it. So for Apache Airflow, okay, it has a provider for Snowflake. So if you go to this link right here, you will see everything that has to do with the provider for Snowflake. But I'll also put this link in the description below. Now, if you look at this right here, it's telling us that you can install this package on top of an existing Airflow 2 installation for the minimum Airflow version supported via pip install apache-airflow-providers-snowflake. So we're also going to be installing this, but these are the requirements. Okay, so you're talking about Apache Airflow, you're talking about Airflow providers, common SQL, connector-python, snowflake-sqlalchemy. Okay, so although we are not going to be installing everything this way, but you spend some time on this link for you to understand what the Apache Airflow providers for Snowflake is all about. Okay, I will highly encourage you to do that so you can get also a better understanding. Okay, very good, guys. Now let us come back right here. Let me right click and paste. So now I'm doing a sudo pip install apache airflow. I'll press enter, and that's going to install that. Okay, as you can see, we are in our virtual environment, which we have activated. Okay, let that run. Let that continue to run, and then we'll install the next thing. Take a couple of seconds. Very good, very good. This is done. Okay, now the next thing we want to install is apache-airflow-providers-snowflake using pip install, which I just showed you on that link. Okay, I'll put the link in the description below. That is that. Okay, and we also do a pip install of the snowflake-connector-python, which I just showed you also. When this is done, a few more seconds for it to complete. I'm spending some time to show you how we do this installation so that we can both see if there is an error or not. Okay, now let us install the next one, which is snowflake-connector-python. Okay, let's press enter for that. Okay, that one says requirement already satisfied. Okay, now let us pip install snowflake-sqlalchemy. As you can see, okay, this also is the requirement is already satisfied. As I showed you the link, right? Now that we have gotten all of this right, now let us see if we can run our airflow. Okay, let us see if at least our airflow can run before we move ahead. We've been able to install all these different dependencies. Now for us to do that, you will do airflow standalone. I think I did not spell something right there. Standalone. I'll press enter. So we got an error right here, and this error says that, okay, this is where we entered it. It says ORM mode has been renamed to from attribute to say valid config keys have changed in v2 version 2. So it seems that, so we have pydantic. And then if you look at what it says, they say pydantic.errors.pydantic user error. Okay, if ID is not meant to be a field. So what I get from here is that if you go through it, as a matter of fact, in one of my videos, you know, one of the learners also got this this error, and I think this is due to the fact that there is a new update that was made to this package, this Python package, right, in terms of this pydantic. Okay, because the previous video I did before, there was no such error. Okay, however, a workaround there is for us to uninstall pydantic 2.0, which is part of this distribution right here. If you come right here, you can see say pydantic.dev 2.0.2. So if we do a pip freeze, if you do a pip freeze and you come right here, there is a place we have, you see pydantic 2.0.2. okay, so I think that's why we are having such error. So what we can do is we can uninstall the 2.0, okay, and then do an install of a lower version, and that should work. At least that was the workaround that I did. Okay, and that worked. Okay, and one of the students also, one of the learners also on my channel also had also figured this out. Okay, now so if I uninstall this, I will just do uninstall, then I'll say yes. So that has fully uninstalled. Then I'm going to install this version, and then it should work. Pip install pydantic equals 1.10.10. Let us run that. Let us run that. Very good. That has finished running. Now let us just see if we're able to, if our pydantic was updated. Let us look for it right here. You see pydantic 1.10.10. Very good, guys. So now let us come here, and then let us call our airflow standalone again. Let's see if everything okay. Now everything is initializing. You can see, guys, seems everything is working fine. It's creating the username and all of that for us already. Very good, guys. This is really working. Very good. So now you can see this has given us a username and then also a password with which we can log into our Airflow. Okay, now that we have that, the next thing I would like to do is I would like to use Visual Studio Code to connect to this our EC2 instance so that we can do some development. Okay, so we can do some code development. So go ahead to open up your Visual Studio Code. If you don't know how to connect Visual Studio Code to your EC2 instance, I've made a comprehensive video about that. I will put the link in the description below so that you can watch that and understand how we can do that. Okay, so for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to open folder, and I have in my user directory, I have .ssh file. I will open that because that will take me to a config that I have. So this config right here, I've already worked on this. So what I will just do is you need to create a key value pair like this. Make sure that it follows this convention, okay, this indentation. So this is what I'm going to use to connect to it. So I will say host, then I'll put the name of my EC2, and as you guys can see that the name of my EC2, let me go back right there, my running EC2 is airflow_snow. Okay, so I'll say airflow_snow. Then what is my host name? So my host name, guys, is going to be, check this, and then come to public IPv4. This is my host, then copy that. That's my host name. I'll come right here and I will delete that and Ctrl V, paste that there. The user is Ubuntu because when we created our EC2, remember it was Ubuntu that we chose. Okay, and then if you remember what I called key pair for you, that I said you could create a key pair, a new key pair, or if you have one existing, you can use that. For me, I already have one existing that I've used in my previous video. If you don't know how to do that, I encourage you to watch my previous video where I did all of that. I'll put a link in the description below. Okay, and then so just what you have to do is just put the absolute path to that .pem file right here. My own is inside my downloads folder. Okay, and then I would save. Very good, guys. Now we are getting somewhere, guys, and then we can connect to our EC2. But before we connect to our EC2, if you are finding this video valuable, or you are watching my video right now and you have not subscribed to this channel, I highly encourage you to go ahead right now and subscribe to this channel, where you can enjoy all our awesome videos in the area of data engineering, data science, machine learning engineering. As a matter of fact, I have a playlist right now which I'm creating. I'm creating it from beginner level to an advanced level. That's the aim of PostgreSQL. It's going to be a complete package for you guys. Okay, I encourage you now to go ahead right now and subscribe to this channel and click on the bell for notifications so that you can be notified whenever you release any of our videos. Also, don't forget to like our video and help us to share so that more people can benefit. All right, guys, back to our code development. So now that we have entered all this info right here, okay, all these three other ones that I have right here, those are for other EC2s that I have. Okay, but for this current EC2, this is it. And then you come right here and then you say open a remote. You click that, you come to connect to hosts, and then this is the name of my EC2, airflow_snow. So I will click that right now. You can see it's trying to connect, opening remotes. It's asking me to continue. I say continue. Going to take a few seconds. Okay, very good. You can see that it has connected. SSH airflow_snow. Very good, guys. You can see that right now. So what I can do right now, I can come to file, and then I'll come to open folder. Okay, when I have home Ubuntu, then I will say okay. And then now it's going to pull down my my file structure, the folders for me. We are going to see that all over this place, and then we can continue. Okay, very good, guys, very good. You can see now that we have Airflow. We also have our virtual environment that we had created before. Okay, let's quickly do a few housekeeping right here. Let's go into our Airflow right here, this Airflow. Okay, just right click and create a folder that is called dags. I'll click that, I'll close that. Inside this Airflow, you see you have logs, you have config. Okay, you can see that right here, guys. And also inside these dags, I'm going to create a file. I can call it snow_yml.py. That's going to be our dag. That's where we're going to be creating our dag. Okay, now one thing you want to take note is this airflow.cfg. That's the config file. If you look at what we have in this config file, it says that your dag should be in this folder. So that means that wherever you have your dag file to be, you have to show the path it is. So that means that if you are not using this path, you just have to specify the path where your dag file is going to be. So in our own case, this is our dag file, snow_yml.py, and it is inside Airflow dags, right? So that means you have Airflow dags. So that means this is good for us. Okay, we don't need to change that. Another thing I would like to change right here is if you come to this load examples, what this means is that there are some examples that have came along with your Airflow by default when you installed it. If you don't want to see it, you can just type false right here, especially for production. You can see, say you probably want to set this to false in a production environment. So let's just set it to false this time around so that we don't see all those dags. We can only see our own dag. Okay, and then I can save right here. Now I'm going to be creating my dag also right here. Okay, now I don't have anything yet. What I can then also do is that what we can do right now is this. Let us start creating something here before we go to our Airflow. Okay, now let us import some. Let us just do some import right here. I can say from Airflow import dag. Okay, if I import dag, also this helps the Airflow server to know that days.py file is my dag. Okay, I'm also importing time delta, datetime, also importing Python operator. I have taught you all these in my previous video, guys. Okay, one other thing that we can import right here is snowflake operator, because we are going to be creating database. We are going to be creating database, warehouse, and tables in our snowflake, right? So we need a snowflake operator. You can see where we have imported that from. Okay, now the next thing we can do right here is to define our default argument, which I've also shown you all these in my previous video. I highly encourage you, if you have not watched my previous video of where I did end-to-end project on Airflow on EC2. Okay, where in one of the videos I did a sequential workflow, and in another one I did parallel processing. I will put the link in the description below. Okay, but in this case I'm defining some argument right here in terms of owner. I'm saying the owner is Airflow. It could be any owner. I could put my name, or I could put my group. It depends on pass. I say false. Email on retry, I say false. So I've explained all this in my previous video, and they are intuitive. Okay, now what you now want to do right here is that we want to create our dag. So you say with dag, give your dag a name. Okay, take note that the dag name or the dag ID needs to be unique across all the dags that you have in your Airflow. Okay, now I will say default args is this default args right here. Schedule interval, I'm saying that daily, which is going to be midnight each day. Then I'm saying catch up, I'm saying is false, right? So put your colon right here. Okay, now what I want to then do right here now is that let us now remember your indentation right here. Then let us now create table. I will give this a name, this snowflake operator instance. I give it create table. So I have a task ID. I call it create snowflake table. Okay. Then the snowflake connection ID, because we need to create a connection ID. That is what will help Airflow to be able to connect to the snowflake. Okay. So in that case, we are giving it an ID. We are going to do the setup pretty soon. And then what is the SQL query we want to run? What we want to do is we want to create table if the table is not yet existing. Okay, so we give it student info. Okay, so the column is student ID, first name, last name, email, subject, score, and then I'm giving it these data types. Okay, we know data types already. If you don't know this, I have a complete video on Postgres, which I continue to add more videos. Okay, so I have covered how to create tables in that, and I've also covered how to insert records in that in your Postgres table or in your SQL table basically. Okay, and I've also talked about constraints. What does not null constraints mean? What does unique constraints mean? What does default constraints mean? I've taught that in my previous video. Okay, I'll put the link to that in the description so that you can better understand all these things. Okay, now this is one task that we just created, okay, which is the snowflake, which is the create table. Okay, now let us save this and let us go to our Airflow UI and let's see what we got right there. Okay, very good, guys. So I will come to this connect. Since we did some changes right here in our config, since we changed something in our config, we changed this load example to false, right? So I would say that let us stop this Airflow server and then restart. Okay, so I'm going to do a Control-C. So you can see the Control-C is shutting down the Airflow. Now it has completed. Then I can restart so that, you know, every changes that we have made, basically the changes we made in the config basically can go through. So I will go to Airflow standalone. And then I will do that again. You see it's initializing. Very good. And then it's going to give us our username and password. So this is our username, this is our password. But before we go and copy that, let us come to our EC2 instance, check this, and then come to public IPv4 DNS. So I will copy and I will come here. I'll put colon and I'll put 8080 and I will say enter. Okay, now if you look at this right here, you can see that there is a delay. Airflow should be running on port, it should be running on port 8080, but something is going on right here, and that was because we forgot to update our security. So come to your Airflow EC2, you can see that it did not connect. So come to your Airflow EC2, check this and go to security and then go to security groups. Click this. When you click this, let us edit our inbound rules. Okay, then you come to add rule, because if you look at this place, there is no port for Airflow to run. Airflow should be running on port 8080. Okay, I will say add rule. So I will say custom TCP and I will say 8080. Okay, and then I can put anywhere IPv4 or you can do my IP. That is also okay. Then I'll say save rules. Now you see that I've saved the rule because I've added Airflow to run. You see on port 8080. That means I can access it. Then I will just come here and I can just say refresh. Very good, guys. You can see it right here now. Okay. Now if you come back right here, don't mind all these. All these are just showing all the interactions we're having with the Airflow. Okay. Now if you come right here, you see that your username is admin and your password, I like that, and right click and copy. So I'll copy my password and paste that, and then I will put my username and then I'll sign in. Very good. Now you can see that we have it right here. We have our DAG name, create insert table. Create insert table. If we come right here, we have our DAG name, create insert table. Can you see that right there, guys? That is our DAG, and that's the only DAG we are having right here because we have already said load examples should be false, right? So if you click this, what do we have? Let's look at it graphically. You can see that we only have one task right here. Okay, why do we have one task? Because this is only one task that we have created right here. Okay, that's create table. Okay, that is what we want to create. Okay, and that is create snowflake table, right? Create snowflake table. Okay, now very good. Let us add another task. The other task we want to add is insert table. We want to insert. Okay, let us add this right here. So we can say data inserts. We are still going to be using the snowflake operator. Okay, so I call the task ID insert into snowflake. Okay, then take note that the snowflake connection ID is going to be the same thing because we are connecting to the same snowflake, right? So I gave it connection underscore ID underscore snowflake. What is the SQL command we want to run? Insert into student info. Remember that we are going to create this table right here, and then we are going to insert records into it. So we are creating the column student ID, first name, last name, email, subject, score, and then we are giving it 3 records. You can see 3 rows. You can see 1 row, second row, and third row. That is what we are giving it. Okay, if I save this right here, guys, and then we come back to our Airflow UI, if we refresh this page, you can see right here, guys, now we have 2 tasks right here. Very good, guys. However, we have not connected them. We have not talked about the dependency right here. So what we can then do is we can say right here that take note of the indentation, guys. So I can say that because we are inside this with DAG. Okay, now I can save it. Now what I'm doing right here is I'm saying create table needs to run before data insert, before this one. That is why we put these 2 greater than sign right here. So create table runs before data insert. Okay, now if we go back to this, if we refresh, very good, guys, you can see now what we have. The table is going to be created first in Snowflake, and then we are going to insert records. Take note that on the Snowflake we had originally created the database, the schema, which is the student schema, and the student warehouse. Okay, now we have all those information. Therefore, let us go back to our Airflow so that we can make that connection between our Airflow that is running in our EC2 instance with the Snowflake. I hope you get that right now. Let us go to our admin and do connections. Click connections. Click this plus sign, and then let us put our connection ID. What is our connection ID? That's con underscore ID Snowflake. I will put that right here. Then I'll say connection type. Snowflake is going to show right here because we have installed those providers dependencies, right? We have installed those. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to put in our schema. What is the name of that schema that we created? If you remember correctly, it is student schema. If we come back right here, you can see it. You see student schema, right? Where is student schema? You come right here, put student schema, then your login. When you created your Snowflake, you also created with your login and your password. So that login, you are going to put it right here, and then the password, you are also going to put it right here. Very good, guys. I hope you get that right now. And then the next thing is you are going to put an account. What is the account of your Snowflake? Okay. Now what we are going to do right here is we are going to come right here. Okay, and then you come to this worksheet. Just go back, just click this, and then if I come right here and then I say copy account URL, if I copy this right here, guys, what I will do is this. See what I'm going to do? I will paste this, but when I paste this, the account actually is this one right here. Is just this digits or this alphanumeric right here. Okay, so that means I'm going to remove all these ones. I'm going to remove all these ones. Okay, and then leave that account. Okay, now what is your warehouse? Remember we created student warehouse. That's your warehouse name. Then what is our database name? We call this students database. Okay, now what is your region? When you are creating your account, you selected a region. In my own case, I selected US-West-2 region. So you actually also selected region when you were creating your account. So put that region right there. Okay, then role. For your role, you go back to your account. Okay, if you go back to your account right here, let us look for the role. If you look at, so what is this role right here? This role I'm using right now is account admin. You can see that, guys. That's the account admin. So I will come right here and then I'll put account admin. Okay, very good, guys. You don't need to do anything with private key, path, or text. Okay, that should be that about that. So we have given it every information that it needs to connect to our Snowflake. Okay, we can click test just to test if the connection works. You can see we don't have anything right here yet, so let us click test and let us move up. You can see it says connection successfully tested. That means it is working fine. So let us save. Very good, guys. Very good, guys. Now that we have saved, let us go back to our DAG. Remember, we only have one DAG. Let us start it. Let us go right there. You can see it already started running. It already started running. Very good, guys. You can see this already ran. This already ran. Pretty good. That means we have been able to use Airflow to orchestrate this task, creating a table, okay, and then inserting records inside that table. Let us go back to our Snowflake and let us take a look at that table. Okay, let us go back. Let us come here and let us do SQL worksheets. Okay, so now let us select the database we are interested in, which is the student database. Now you can see that we have the student schema. We are not interested in public. Student schema, that is where the table is going to be. Okay, student schema. Then I'll come outside. Now let us run a select star from the student info. Remember we created student info table. Okay, so now let us come right here and let us see. I can highlight this and execute. Is running. Very good, guys. You can see that these are the 3 records that we said we wanted to run. We wanted to insert. You see these 3 records that we wanted to run. Very good. I hope you guys understand this. Let us run it one more again. Remember that inside here we said create table if not exist, right? So that means if we run it again, it is not going to create the table again because it has already created it. However, these records, they are going to be inserted second time. So that means we should be having 6 records if we are able to run this Airflow successfully. So let us run it second time again. Let us come here. Let us do trigger DAG. Now you can see it's trying to run again. Okay, this has finished running. This is trying to run SQL. Now it's running. Very good. Now it has finished running. How do I know it has finished running? look at this legend right here. You can see this type of margin or this border green. That is what we have right here. If it were to be this type of yellow, then you know that it's retrying, is doing some retry. And if it is red border, then it has failed. Okay, and I've also explained this to you in my previous videos, which I'm going to put the link in the description below for you to better understand what Airflow is all about. Okay, however, this small project that this is a project we just did right now, it is setting a stage for a more complex project that we are going to be doing later on. Okay, now let us go back to our Snowflake just to verify. Let us run this select star statement again. I think we should be able to see 6 rows right here. Let us execute. Very good, guys. You can see we have how many rows now? 6 rows, because it was the same data that we put, right? That was why we add duplicates. So 1 2 3 1 2 3. So because we ran it twice. Okay, now I hope you guys now understand this concept right now. Now you understand how we can connect our EC2 to our Snowflake. Okay, in the next video we are going to be looking at more things. In the case of we putting Postgres also as part of this workflow, we are also going to be adding S3 and a whole lot of other components to this Airflow. But I wanted to just show you this just to let you know how we can easily, or how we can automate the creation of tables and the insertion of records into Snowflake using Airflow as an orchestration tool that is running in an AWS EC2 instance. Very good, guys. I hope you understand this right now. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to put your question in the comment section below, and also all the links that I've promised you I was going to put right in the description. I will ensure I put them right there, and then the code that we used in today's class, I'll also put them right in my GitHub. Once again, if you are watching this video and you have not subscribed, I highly encourage you right now, that's the thing you should do right now. Subscribe to this channel right now, because we are going to be releasing more awesome videos for you. And also, please don't forget to like this video, because as you know, the more you like this video, the more the YouTube algorithm is going to rank this channel higher in the YouTube on the YouTube platform. Okay, very good, guys. I hope to see you in the next class. Bye for now.